So Tracy said that that one of us should like take Meryl's place and say something funny, and I couldn't come up with anything to say.
Well, you just made it a noise of frustration as it started, so I feel like that.
Bam! Look, I have a beautiful copy. I actually started with the audiobook.
So I read it when it first came out on Kindle. And then for this, I listened to it on audio because when I was reading it, I was like, I bet this would be better on audio. And it was. I liked it. I mean, I liked it in print, but it was even better on audio. Was that your experience?
I went back and forth.
Okay.
So I didn't have a solid print experience. I tend to go back and forth. Just because of the way my reading life was set up. I think I did most of it on audio. Trace and I started it on as our sleepy time book.
Okay.
And then I think about I want to say halfway or so through, I was like, yeah, so I'm gonna finish this, and I just kind of like took off.
Yeah. Okay, but if you started it on audio, I think it's really just like the beginning of the book where the print is a little bit overwritten, like he tries really hard to replicate speech in the way that he writes it, a little bit over the top. So that's when I started reading. I was like, oh no, this would be so much better on audio. I didn't have to like read how he had written it to be read. But then once you go farther in the book, it settles down a little bit. So I think it's really just the beginning that's better on audio.
I definitely thought it was a little slow to start. It was slow to start for me. And I think that's like that is why. I'm like it felt like he was just trying too hard. I really wasn't sure I was gonna get at the beginning.
Yes.
Yeah.
Agreed. Yeah. Yeah. When I first started it on the Kindle, I was like, oh, I don't know about this. I've made a mistake getting this in print, and then I kept going, and then it was like I couldn't put it down eventually.
Right. And what's cool is I've been reading a lot more books like that lately, where I don't want to put it down.
Yeah, that's
something nice. That speaks well to the selections I'm making in my reading life.
That's great.
But you were saying, I think when we talked about this last time, that something about copy editing.
Yeah, so I was proofreader for Hank's website for a year, and so I was like, oh, I don't know how. Better have a good editor. And I think he did. I think they probably could have edited a little bit more strongly in some places, but by and large, I was very impressed.
I definitely liked it a lot more than I thought I was going to.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't sure if it was like, okay, so you're super popular and you're going to sell a lot of books, and just by virtue of the fact that you are a YouTuber and Emmy winner, all of these things.
Right.
But I thought it was a great social commentary.
Mm-hmm.
On the dangers of, or the pitfalls really of like internet celebrity.
Mm-hmm.
Really, yes. I think like one of the things that my students would tell me all the time is because I have a YouTube channel, it's like, oh, you're YouTube famous, and I'm like, no. I really do that for myself. Honestly, I'm gonna sit in the corner of the internet and be happy. But yeah,
I remember before the book came out, John talking about how like this book tackled topics that he hadn't really seen elsewhere. And now that I've read it, I'm like, yeah, that's true. I can't really think of another book that captures the lived experience of becoming famous overnight, and particularly in the internet age, and like what that looks like.
I think he was definitely in a unique position to speak to that experience.
Mm-hmm.
What Osseo Deathly Hallows kind of exploded Vlogbrothers. That
was when I found him.
I actually think that's when I found him too. Because and I did see it before Deathly Hallows came out. Didn't really understand what it was, but it was like, oh, it's on the front page of YouTube. No. The cat wants attention.
I can hear that.
Oh, okay. You know, apparently this has like bomb microphone. I don't even know.
Yes.
Usually I have this plugged in. So come on. Come on. Come on. Are you coming? Come on, dude. Come hang out. There. Now you can be happy. You know, so I looked for like guiding questions and all I found were blog posts. I don't know if you happened to find any.
No, I didn't look. I was just gonna say, well, you were talking about Hank being in a unique position to speak to that experience of becoming internet famous, and so I one of the people that I follow on Goodreads clearly did not know who Hank was, and read the book because her daughter had read it and liked it, and so she was like, I don't know why he had to make it all about the internet. He's just trying to like get on the like be cool with the kids kind of thing, and like making it all about Instagram and YouTube. And I was like, do you know who Hank Green is? He's not just like, let me write something about this YouTube thing.
I was reading an article about, I think it was before the book came out. It was an interview with Hank, and it was the upfront was talking about how, you know, so because of Vlogbrothers and then the wildly popular Lizzie Bennett, he's been able to, in VidCon, he's been able to like interview presidents and things like that. So like,
yeah. Oh, you just froze. Where did you go? You're just frozen going like this with the cat's head. It's great. Maybe it's just frozen for me. Nope. Oh, wait, you're back.
Okay.
Was I frozen for you? Okay.
I can hear you the entire time.
Okay, yeah, no, you were just frozen. Now you're kind of blurry, but
wildly.
What's that?
Was I gesticulating wildly?
You had your hands up like this, and like the cat's head was right in between them. It was amazing.
Oh, that's fabulous. That's fabulous. I think it actually be because I'm like in the farthest.
You just got totally garbled. Try that again.
Oh, I moved the computer, so maybe I should move it back.
Maybe so. I mean, maybe it's me. Like, I don't know. Maybe on the live stream, you will be perfect, and I will be the one freezing out.
Well, but I can still hear you, so okay. I don't know.
Well, we'll see. Okay. What were you saying before?
Oh. I don't know.
Oh, the interview. You read the part about all the things he's done.
Oh, just surprisingly, the types of like access that someone who is like YouTube, don't do that. Who is YouTube famous can like get like access to the president, which again we get to see that in represented in April, May, and I did think it was funny that she didn't think about contacting the authorities first.
Well,
the crap out of me.
I think she's supposed to. I mean, I think
I know.
I thought it seemed, I mean, we get everything through her perspective, but I thought it seemed legitimate that, like, you know, they're like, oh, it's like some sort of weird scavenger hunt, and like we figured it out, and so let's just go see what happens. Probably nothing. You know, like it wasn't like they actually thought like these are space aliens and we're going to provide them with, you know, radioactive materials. I don't think they had really thought through.
I totally bought it. Like,
Yeah.
I totally thought that it was a legit thing to do. And then the president shows up and said, "Why'd you do that?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, huh."
Right, exactly. And that's like that's what I thought was so good about this book is that you, even when you like don't want April May to make the choices that she does, you also understand at every step why she's making those choices. And it was such an interesting experience to reread the book because you know what choices she's going to make. So in the first time through, sometimes you're like, oh no, don't do the thing. Is she going to do the thing? You know, and then whatever, she makes a bad decision. But in a lot of cases, it's like you don't realize until later that the choice that she made was a bad one when she realizes that. And so it was a very different experience to read it a second time and know what the consequences are going to be of each of the decisions that she makes along the way. And in some ways, I felt like the book was well suited for rereading because it's written in a tone that assumes, like in the world of the book, everyone knows what happened on July 13th. Everyone knows who the Carls are. And so she's speaking to an audience who knows everything that happened already. And so that makes it even more well suited for rereading because you are reading it then having all the knowledge that she assumes that you know as the reader going in, which is a real, like I've never read a book with that kind of experience before, where the second time around, I feel like now she's really talking to me because yes, I know who she's referring to and I know what that date means and I know the significance of this. And yeah, it was cool.
And see, now I want to reread it. I definitely was confused at some points because I'm like, did I miss it? She's talking about something that I have no idea what's going on.
Yeah.
Maybe if we just keep going, I'll figure it out. And so the bit about the audience and the audience being people, and that is crazy. That is crazy clever.
Yeah.
Like mad props.
Which I don't know if that was intentional that way or what, because I know Hank has talked about how like people keep being like, hey, that was really clever, that thing you did. And he's like, right, that was super intentional.
And I haven't seen him, like I didn't engage with any of the media around the book just because dissertation. So so it's actually kind of interesting to hear like all of the commentary and all of the things. I read a couple of articles today and whatnot. It's like, oh, huh. Like the doing things that were not intentional, and if people want to read into it, then they can.
Right. Yeah. And so that particular comment I think was in a Vlogbrothers video where he was discussing the book with John, maybe. And so he's talking about the kind of the experience of being an author, or maybe it was on their podcast. I don't know. John's kind of like, yeah, welcome to my world.
Actually, I think it was on one of a question Tuesday because I think I remember seeing.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And I think they were together.
Yeah, that's what I think I'm thinking of.
Because I've only seen a couple of videos in the last like 3 or 4 months, and I saw a question Tuesday.
Okay. So if you were able to separate the book from all of your history with the Vlogbrothers, what would you say about your opinion of the book?
That's like, no, you cannot separate the argument so much. You cannot separate the reader from their prior knowledge. It does not work.
But I mean, okay. But rather than saying like it was better than I expected from Hank Green, it's like, okay, that doesn't tell me anything about the actual quality of the book or what you thought of it as a piece. Yeah.
So as a reader, I very much enjoyed it. It was one of those types of books where like anytime I was doing something that did not require my ears but required my hands, I was listening to it.
Yeah.
So like laundry, wandering around the house by myself, in the car, you know, everything. Like I was like, no, I've got to. And then there was one night Tracy came in, and I was listening to it, and I'm like, no, just, I'm almost done.
Yeah.
Especially at the end. You want to talk about like, and I don't want to say intentional because we don't know, but like a very well crafted raising of the anxiety.
Mm.
I think he did that very, very well at the end to
Mm-hmm.
keep you like, okay, so we know, you know, she made this bad choice going out to that building, whatever that
Mm-hmm.
building was,
The
and
warehouse, yeah.
that was the word I was going to use, but I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, what's gonna happen? What's gonna happen? Oh, you know, she's
Yeah.
still, you know,
Yeah.
and it's just so well done.
Mm-hmm.
That was, I think, that was really the point for me in Witches, because like, okay, all of this other stuff, all of this, it was kind of a slow burn, and then you get the
Pun intended.
like concentration, but it made the slow burn so worth it.
Yeah. And again, it was so interesting. What's that?
So the slow burn, that was fascinating. Just, you know, knowing what I knew about Hank's experiences, and not trying, not in an effort to superimpose that upon the character, but understanding that that's the place he's writing from. So it's like, okay, this is really interesting. This is really interesting. Oh heck. Well, wait, what?
Yeah. What was I gonna say? Oh, so one other reason that I liked it better on rereading it was because the first time through, I just totally missed all of the things she says at the very beginning, where she's like, I used to be human, or like back when I was human, or like back when I was alive. And I right, I totally missed it the first time. So then I get to the ending and I'm like, what the F? What is this? I don't understand. And so then this time I read it and I was like, oh, she tells us all of this up front. Like she tells us what's gonna happen. She tells us that she's not completely alive anymore. And
Uh-huh. In
yeah,
literally the first paragraph.
I know. And I totally missed it the first time. And so I was like, what is this ending? And then when I was rereading it, I was like, oh, I should not have been surprised at all, because she literally says this in the beginning of the book.
Wow. It is, yeah, just the little details. Like I'm always impressed. I'm always impressed when there's a gotcha moment. For me as a reader,
Yeah.
that was definitely, if you didn't get it from my face, was a gotcha moment.
Right. Yeah.
And like I know that I will, before the next one comes out, I know I will reread it. And now, just having engaged with you about it, I'm really looking forward to the second one coming out, so I can re-engage with this one as a rereader, as like the person who is part of this world.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be fun.
Yeah. And I also I went into it the second time knowing that there was going to be a sequel. And so I also was less frustrated with the ending, knowing that it was a setup for a sequel, as opposed to the first time I just started reading, read straight through, and then was like, what the heck was that?
I think I saw it on Goodreads. Like the whole parentheses #1.
Yeah.
So I did know going in that it was going to be part of a series. So I'm like, yay, series! I love series.
Yeah.
And it's science fiction, which is always good in my house. So
yeah, I know.
Yeah.
It's interesting because people are calling it young adult, which it's not, but it has kind of the tone of young adult. And I think that's why, and because John writes young adult, I think that might be why people are classing it as young adult, but it definitely is. I mean, she's, she captures the voice of a college graduate, a young professional, really well. And I think I liked it better for it being not a teenager.
Yeah.
Because even though she still was destructive in her choices, like she had, I think, more self-reflection than your average teenager would have. I don't know. I don't remember what that had to do with it being science fiction, but that was where my brain went.
That's okay. Wonder
what did you think of the whole subplot with Peter Petrovicki?
Internet trolls. So part of that I was thinking just well, a lot of the times I rolled my eyes and I'm like, no, don't engage, don't. And then when it kind of split into like these two factions, I'm like, oh, this is really interesting. That we get all of this through April May's perspective. So like I found myself rooting for her side more than Peter's side, just because I have this engagement with her, and I'm like, wow, I do wonder, like, and this is a like ridiculous one, like how many people in this world also like did the same thing that I did without really thinking it through. Just because like they feel like they've got some kind of relationship with her rather than these things could be dangerous and we should approach it with caution. Not too much caution, but some caution.
Right. Yeah. At first I was kind of disappointed that the plot was going in more of a like political is maybe the wrong word, but like kind of direction as opposed to just the like what it looks like to become internet famous. But I think he was kind of making the point that like when you engage as a creator, when you engage with something that affects people outside of you, that affects the world at large, when you're commenting on that, like you're going to draw criticism, you're going to set up opposing viewpoints, and you have a choice about how you engage with that and whether you then replicate those same tactics in your own approach. And so that I thought was well done because she feels justified in what she does. And so she sees nothing wrong with starting to become more and more polarized the way that he is. And it was like, oh, that's a really sharp commentary on how public discourse looks today and why it looks like that and what it looks like from the inside. Like at one point she even says like how much she hates pundits, and she's like, I recognize that I am one. and yeah, but it was like, she liked having a platform and she liked having an audience, and she also believed that she was justified, and so all of those things added up to her feeling comfortable being in that position, and it kind of in some ways humanized people who go on TV and scream at each other.
Right.
And like what's that like from the inside. Yeah. So I thought that ended up being really well done.
See, and I didn't find it like I took it as like this is naturally going to happen. But I think part of that was like the communities that I engage in, and so I hear a lot of talk about. So here we said this thing, and now here are these people coming out from this other side attacking this idea, et cetera, et cetera. Most of it is race related, but I drew a parallel there.
Yeah.
And so I was like, yeah, this kind of makes sense based on the media that I engaged in or that I engage in.
Yeah.
Is a thing that happens.
Yeah. Yeah. I read a critique of the book from a woman. I can't remember if she's bisexual or she just said queer or what, but she was basically saying like she didn't like Hank's choice to have a bisexual woman as the narrator if he wasn't going to authentically represent that voice. And part of what she said was not authentic about it was that the criticisms that April received on her various platforms were not gendered, and for most part did not have anything to do with their sexual orientation, and she felt that was unrealistic, which I thought was weird because I was like, why would you want to include more of that kind of
Nope,
in
now
a
you're frozen.
book? What? Oh no.
Okay,
Can
you're
you
back.
see me? Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
Why would you want to include more of that kind of targeted hate speech in a book than was necessary for the plot? Was kind of my defense of it, I guess. But she felt like it was not like if there really were an April May who became famous, that's the kind of attack she would receive, not this kind of just like politicized, like, oh, I disagree with your ideas, but it would be much more personal, and that he didn't
Nope.
go down that route. What? Are you there?
I missed everything for the last like 6 seconds.
Okay. Now you're frozen.
Nope.
Okay, great. Okay.
Oh wait, there we go.
Okay. Well, very interested to know what this actual video is going to look like and who's going to be recorded and who's not.
We'll probably get more views on this one too, just because of the title.
Yeah, great. What was I trying to say? Oh, basically, she was saying like it wasn't if someone like April May actually was in this position, most of the attacks that they received would not be this kind of like engagement with their ideas. It would be an attack on their identity, and that the fact that he chose not to go that route made it less authentic.
I can see that. I can definitely, especially, yeah, I can see that. Interesting. I hadn't actually thought about it at all. I think I did the beginning of the book like with Sleepy Time, so it didn't even really register. I was like, oh, ex-girlfriend. Okay, great. I did think the not talking about bisexuality piece got my hackles up a little bit. It's like, okay, so why are we? And I didn't get it. The agent telling her, you know, keep this under wraps.
Right.
It's like, okay, so why? But I mean, that would actually open up even more attacks, like attacks differently because people just don't understand bisexuality.
Right. And I think that was the agent's point. And I also think by including that Hank was trying to make a commentary about bi erasure.
Right.
And maybe he could have, yeah, maybe he could have gone farther down that path. I guess the point of this critique was like, if he wasn't going to go farther down that path, then he shouldn't have made her bisexual in the first place.
Right. It didn't add anything to the story.
Yeah. Which is hard. I mean, that's the hard thing about representation in books, right? Like if you're a straight white male like Hank, do you avoid bringing diversity to your characters if you are not going to make the book about those parts of their identity? Is it better to have the representation or not if you're not going to draw more attention to it?
Right, but I think it's that not that he shouldn't include the representation. It's just it needs to, well, like the critique was saying, it needs to be authentic. Like here is part of what happens.
Yeah.
When you are out and queer, people will comment on the fact that you are out and queer.
Right.
So, I mean, if yeah.
Yeah. So I listened to it a little bit. I listened for it this time around because I read that review before I listened to it a second time, or read it a second time this time listening. And so she does go a little bit into like, she kind of summarizes the wide range of comments she receives. Yeah, I was gonna say you just froze, so I don't know if I'm frozen. Can you see me? Can you hear me? I cannot hear you. I cannot see you. Oh boy. This is a fun discussion. Pam could have joined us after all with her lack of high-speed internet, I guess.
Yeah. I got you back.
What?
You were saying?
You are very frozen. You're making some weird noises that sound like a robot. Okay, I see you again. I don't remember what I was saying. Oh, so this is when I listened to it the second time. She does go through some of the comments that she received. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. So she touches on that a little bit. Like she says, like people said I was a space alien. People said I was ultra fuckable. People said I was an ultra fuckable space alien. And so I wonder if not going more into that was ignorance on Hank's part about the experience of marginalized creators, or if it was an intentional choice not to include more of that kind of rhetoric than needs to exist in the world in his book. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, there's no way to know unless we ask him.
Right.
What's
that?
Then an odds are we're not going to get response if we
just everything is garbled. Try again.
What did I say? Oh, I said odds are we're not going to get a response.
Oh, right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the days of me having Hank's personal email address from 10 years ago are long gone.
Wow. Hold up. Nope. Okay. You get random notifications about I don't know what. You need to turn them off.
Yeah, let me see what else.
Did you take notes?
I'm just reading my Goodreads review from the first time. The first time through.
I think I might have read your Goodreads review, but I don't remember.
My first one or my second one? Because I also wrote a review when I.
The first one.
Okay. Yeah, so I liked the messages about power in this book, which I think was a lot of what Hank was trying to say with this book. Like he even said, I think that the sequel is going to be more about money, and this one was more about power, or fame and power. And so he kind of goes into like the encounter with Miranda, I think, was a commentary on creators exploiting their power with their fans to get sexual whatever. Wouldn't say favors, but like to have sexual moments with them.
I thought about one YouTuber in particular when I read that. I'm not going to put it out there.
I think there have unfortunately been many.
Yeah.
And then I think he also was trying to say something about people using their power for good and to put more hope rather than fear into the world, which I think is something that the Vlog brothers have tried to. I think in general they've tried to be very mindful about recognizing the power that they have and thinking mindfully about how to use it to kind of make the world a better place rather than advance their own agendas. And so I think he does a nice job of exploring where that line is, and kind of she starts to go down the path more of advancing her own agenda to some extent, even though she believes that she's trying to put more hope in the world. Hello, my naked child has just woken up from his nap. Hi, no, you don't want to be on the internet when you're naked.
Where's Daddy?
No,
Daddy's talking to Uncle Dean right now. I'm talking to my friend.
Who?
Eli, you want to say hi?
Yeah. Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Hey, you can't hear.
Oh, he can't hear me.
Let me take my headphones out. Now you can hear. Now you can say hi.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Oh, wait, now I'm muted. Hold on. There
Oh,
we go.
come on.
Okay.
Hi.
Hi. I like myself.
There's his face.
Did you have a good nap?
Yeah.
Oh, good. Naps are important.
But you know what I've got?
What did you get? Tell me.
Close your eyes and I'll get it.
Okay.
Okay, hold on. I'm gonna text my husband.
Okay.
Okay.
Protect his modesty here.
You can open your eyes now, but don't look.
You can open your eyes, but don't look.
My eyes, but don't look. What kind of sense does that make?
Hold it up a little bit higher so you can see it.
What is that?
It's a little.
I think.
It's a fire engine ornament for the Christmas tree.
Ooh.
But
Are you
what?
excited about putting it on the tree? You're gonna play.
Watch this.
I don't
This.
I don't know if it's possible to see the lights when it's. Oh yeah, you can kind of see the lights flashing.
See that?
I think my face is in the way, actually.
There's
I
lights.
think he's frozen.
Oh, super cool.
He's frozen.
Well, yeah, we're having some problems with the internet. Okay, yeah, Daddy's gonna come in here in a minute. We got to wrap up our book club here. Now that you've made your little cameo. Okay, not right now. Not right now, love. We have to finish our video. Yes. Okay. You have the next lesson.
Let's go ahead and call it.
Okay, and let's vote on our next one. We need to
There's a